Dear friends and students, today we are going to discuss neoliberal approach to political theory. In our last video, we discussed about the features of liberal approach to political theory. There we saw that how individualism, universalism, meliorism, and egalitarianism became the fundamental features of it. Today we are going to discuss how political theory is seen from neoliberal point of view. In order to analyze neoliberal approach, we have to understand the background story for the arrival of the neoliberal approach. It is seen that after World War II, many philosophers and thinkers had started to raise their doubts and concern over the excessive increase of state power. They started to cast their aspersions over the methodological increase of state authority, which can be seen in both types of states that were prevalent in those times. Both socialist and liberal welfare state had started to act as a controlling authority over individual autonomy. Scholars like Hayek stated that this control is a systematic design and can be termed as a political rationalism. Political rationalism can be defined as a systematic understanding of society through reason. Hence, society can be changed or altered through some theoretical construction. These theoretical constructions are imposed upon society to fashion social and economic order. This is what similar has happened in mid 20th century where liberty or freedom was curtailed by state or its agency both in socialist and liberal approach. Premised on the basic idea of individual liberty, which forms the core of liberalism, we can see the rise of neoliberal approach in 1970s and 80s. But before going to the core ideas of neoliberal approach, we need to understand the two strands of liberalism, the classical and the modern. Liberalism as a political philosophy or political theory has its two basic categories. One is a classical or traditional liberalism espoused by John Locke, Rousseau, Thomas Jefferson, and others, the notable and other notable scholars. The other strand is the modern or social liberalism of the 19th and early 20th century, espoused by Green, Rawls, and Beveridge. To start with, classical liberalism gives its primary emphasis on liberty of individual. For them, individual freedom is the core idea of its belief, and this cannot be equated with anything. But for modern liberals, liberty is situated at the same with that of equality in order to achieve social justice. Secondly, state for classical liberals must be minimal. The activity of state should not interfere into the sphere of individual autonomy. Whereas for modern liberals, state emphasized its role to become a welfare state for the protection of disabled and minority citizens from the majority. Classical liberals also felt that market should also be left untouched, which in terms of the modern liberals should be kept within the supervision of the state and can even play a significant role. The fallacies of the market can only be controlled by the state economy. Hence, for classical liberals, state is a night watchman whose only job is to maintain law and order, whereas for modern liberals, state is an instrument to redistribute wealth and power. It is very difficult to define neoliberal approach to political theory because neoliberalism as a definition has various connotations and meanings. Some observed it as a revival of classical liberalism. Some stated that it is nothing but liberal political economy in its new avatar. The terms of liberalism are there, but with a new meaning and emphasis, just like neoconservatism in 1980s. Thus, neoliberalism can be defined as the role of the state where it is to create and preserve an institutional framework which is appropriate for liberating individual entrepreneurship and its freedoms and skills within an institutional framework characterized by strong private properties, free markets, and free trade. Thus, the features of neoliberal approach can be stated as that neoliberals argue that inequality is both inevitable and desirable. Any attempt to offset this inequality through state interference will lead to the decline of human freedom, choices, and opportunities. The principal liberal goal in the belief that the unregulated market capitalism will deliver efficiency, growth, and widespread prosperity. Hence, individual is the best responsible for entrepreneurship, which is based also for its prosperous life. This can also be achieved through the rolling back of the state, where the dead hand of the state saps all the initiative and discourage enterprise. Government, however good it is, invariably has a damaging effect on the economy of the state. Thus, the politics of ownership and its preference for private enterprise over public ownership is always asked for. In short, private is good, public is bad. The state is seen as a nanny. Nanny state is a state with extensive social responsibilities. In this kind of state, freedom of choice in the market and of the individual is curtailed. Hence, for neoliberals, nanny state is of no use. Green identifies four basic schools of neoliberal approach. Number one, Australian school. Two is the Chicago school. Three is the Virginia School of Public Choice. And four is the anarcho-capitalists. Basically, in all these schools, there are three moot points which can be identified as the basic theoretical characteristics of the neoliberal approach. Those three are free market, wherein the individual has all the autonomy and the state should not come within the purview of the market. It is the market which decides the ultimate well being of the individual and the society. It's the minimal state. The main conception of the minimal state is important not only for the classical liberals but also for the neoliberals. Within the purview of the neoliberal approach to political theory, the minimal state stand as one of the basic and the most important contribution after the anarchical system of World War II. Third is the primacy of personal choice. The individual's personal choice and its capability is given the most important part that to be noted within the purview of individuals' choice related matters. individual is the ultimate judge of its own personal capabilities, and according to that capability, he should come and identify the likings and dislikings, which should be enough to be motivated and to give some kind of a consideration to judge the ability and skill of the individual. Thus, the primacy of personal choice, minimal state, and the free market can be identified as the basic theoretical features of the neoliberal approach. If you like this video, please comment and subscribe and share for better audience. Thank you.